You're listening to the One Man Show Network. Welcome to the MMA Fight Picks podcast with your host, Aaron Weinbaum.
Hey kids, welcome to the MMA Fight Picks podcast. I am your host, Aaron Weinbaum. I'm super excited. If you're seeing me live, I got a new camera so you can see all the gray in the beard. James Lynch, I appreciate the retweet earlier. I screwed up. I broadcasted to all the wrong places, and then my stream died anyway, so whatevs. I am picking fights for both UFC in Raleigh as well as Bellator, the premiere of Cyborg Santos. So I'm super excited about that. And by the way, thanks to all of you that listened to me last week. And if you're new on Sports Talk channel, welcome. And if for some reason this podcast ends or gets interrupted, you can go to aaronsayswhat.com and watch me there. So UFC Fight Night, Blaydes versus Dos Santos, ESPN Plus. Let us hope your internet is more reliable than mine. If you're on the Periscope, please feel free to join the fun, or YouTube Live, join the fun, or if you're listening to me audio only, please remember to subscribe however it is you find me, and wouldn't hurt to leave me a nice review as well. I am monitoring the comments. Darren Till opinions, Foz420. I don't know what you want me to say about Darren Till except for the guy's a stud. And I think his next fight should be a big one. I don't know why it's not Jared Cannonier since Robert Whitaker is out. Forgive me, I need to set a timer here. I forget. I'm on radio time too, so every 15 minutes I got to take like a natural pause. So just a little inside scoop there. But I don't know. But thank you for Foz420. And hey, the whole month of April this year, it is 420. So kudos to you, brother. You're going to have a hell of a month. All right. Let's see here, but I'm going to start picking the fights. I got to hit this timer here real quick. How do I even do it? See, I don't ever do these watches, but it is what it is. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Boom. Okay. Anywho, we're going to get to the fights. Enough of the radio time, enough of the garbage there. First up, fight of the night. The returning Sara McMann, I believe, after having a child against Lina Länsberg. So it's been quite some time since we've seen Sara. Of course, we know she's an Olympic wrestler. So do her, last few fights matter? I don't know. She has to have 2 losses though. Both of them submissions, both of them triangle chokes. So hopefully she's been working on her triangle choke defense, but that's way back in February 2018. Both Marion Renault and Caitlin Vieira. Before that, she has 3 wins in a row, Gina Danger, Alexis Davis, and Jessica I. Now let's go to Lina Länsberg. I believe she was once the challenger to the 145 title against a starving division here against Cyborg when she was in the UFC, but she does have 2 wins in a row. Macy Chiasson and Tanya Evinger, who has not had the most, her career in the UFC has not gone as expected. But it is what it is. Before that, she has lost to Gianna Kunitskaya and also owns a win over Gina Danger, Gina Mazzani, and a loss against Aspen Ladd. This one's tough because, whether I don't think with Olympian, ring rust is so much real, but, you go through a life-changing thing, you have another kid, but then you got Lina. I don't know what, the strength of competition there. No, I take that back because Tanya Evinger is tough. And, this Cyborg loss was a different weight class. It was way back in 2016. As much as I would like to see, Sara McMann make a triumphant return, and I hope that she does. I don't wish anyone to lose, except for Kevin Lee. But, I'm going to go Lina Länsberg on this. All right, Arnold Allen against Nick Lentz. Now, this is interesting. What the odds makers aren't telling you, this is taking place at 145 pounds. Nick Lentz was at a point in his life where he said he'd never make 145 pounds. I'd like to know what he's doing this time around. He said he nearly killed himself doing it. He said he was okay when he was with Mike Dolce. Then he tried doing it on his own. Super malnourished, did a lot of damage to his body. And then all of a sudden, here he is, back making 145 pounds. So I'd like to know the background story about that. If anyone has any insight. Hey, Vinny Velez, that's right, UFC, brother. Thank you for Thank you for hopping on. Hey, and if you're a podcaster like myself and you need to know how to record phone calls and whatnot, all you need is a mixer. It's just a real simple mixer and the podcast hotline kit. There's your plug, Vinny. Arnie Allen, let's take a look at him. Trades out at TriStar. Whole bunch of wins in a row dating back to August 2014. But most notably, Gilbert Melendez. I believe that, and I don't think he's fighting for the UFC anymore after that one. Jordan Rinaldi, Mads Burnell, Makwan Americani. Okay, so this guy does nothing but win. All right, then we got Nick Lentz. Well, I don't know the last time he fought 145 pounds is, and I don't know how this weight cut's going to go, and I don't like picking these fights ahead of time. You know, here it is a Tuesday night. You'll be hearing this on a Wednesday morning before weigh-ins even occur. So he just fought Charles Oliveira and lost to punches, probably prompting his move down to 145 pounds. Before that, he has wins over Scotty Hot Sauce Holtzman and Gray Maynard back in 2018. Yeah, I'm trying to see here. Yeah, he hasn't fought at 145 pounds since his last loss to Charles Oliveira back in 2015. So this is really interesting. And if I'm going to make a real prediction here, he doesn't make weight. And I make these predictions often, and I hope I'm wrong. I don't think he's going to make weight. He's older. He had trouble making the weight unless he's got some Dolce miracle up his sleeve or whatever. I don't think he makes it. I also don't think he wins this fight. I think Arnie Allen Arnold Allen. I heard him called Arnie today on Anik and Florian, and it just kind of stuck with me. That Gilbert Melendez win is a big deal. I know Gil is on the decline, but I don't see Nick Lentz having an easy weight cut, and I don't see him winning this fight. Friend of the Quinta Realty account, Angela Hill taking on Hannah Cifers. All right, let's take a look at this. I think Hannah is, from what I understand, undersized for this division. She does have 2 wins in a row over Jody Escovan and Poliana Viana. She did lose to Macy Barber, but a lot of people do, except for Roxana Modafferi. And boy, did I pick some fights wrong last week. Let's just get that out of the way. Connor blew it. I thought Cowboy would win for some reason. And I had faith in the wrong veteran. I thought Anthony Pettis' wily veteran status or whatever would overcome and win that fight. But I guess I underestimated Roxanne Modafferi, so it is what it is. Congratulations, Roxy. Couldn't happen to just a more personal, nicer girl on TV, and in real life, from what I understand. Okay, so let's take a look at Angela Hill here. She is the bigger fighter of the two. She did just beat Ariane Cornelasi. I can't say it. Cornelasi. For that, she lost to Juan back in, it's June 2019. So this will be, she fought 4 times in 2019. That's crazy. One of them a month apart, which is impressive. But she has a win over Jody Escobar and losses to Ryan Marcos, Courtney Casey. All right. I think by size and athleticism alone, I think that's going to make a big difference here. I'm going to go with, Angela Hill. Why not? Angela Hill. All right, this fight's a big deal here. A real big deal. Rafael dos Anjos taking on, I don't get your comment there, MMA overall, Jamahal Hill. I don't understand what that means. Okay. Rafael dos Anjos versus Michael Chiesa. Now let's think about this for a second here. Both of them former lightweights moving up to middleweight. But here's the difference. I think that, Rafael dos Anjos is more seasoned at that welterweight, and he has beaten some real tough guys I didn't think he would beat, but he loses to the top 2 and 3, Colby Covington, Usman. I think Leon Edwards is right there. He's not fought Tyron Woodley, so I can't tell you what's going to happen there. So this is essentially the fight to see who takes over gatekeeper until Michael Chiesa beats a top 2 or 3, or 4 opponent, and which is very, very possible. But right now, he is going to take his gatekeeper spot, I think, if he wins this fight. Now, let's take a look at this fight real quick here. Dos Anjos, like I said, only loses to the cream of the crop. And, his last fight, a risky fight, takes on Leon Edwards. Before that, he beats Kevin Lee. And that's important because Kevin Lee, another really big 155-pounder that came up. I don't know that he's as big as Chiesa is, but, Kevin Lee thought he was going to come up, use his wrestling, gas himself out, trying to take him down over and over and over again. Chiesa, not the most dynamic striker, but is he going to come in blitzing him and trying to take him down over and over again? Well, how much bigger or smaller will he be than Rafael dos Anjos? I don't know. So we'll see. But like I said, that win over Kevin Lee, before that 2 in a row, he loses to the top 2 in the division. Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington. But everyone else he beats. Robbie Lawler, Neil Magny. Wow, gosh, we're going back to 2017 here. His only losses at lightweight are to the tops. Excuse me. Habib, Tony Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez. Before that, he beats everybody, but he just can't make that weight. So this is interesting. Let's look at Chiesa here for a second. Beat a lot of good guys, including the one and only great Al Iaquinta. Uh-oh. I just had a little bit of a computer malfunction here. I'm not sure what happened. Sorry about that. All right, let's take a look at Chiesa here. I'm going to have to upgrade computers, I think. Just beat Diego Sanchez, and that was a tough match, man. Went all 3 rounds. Diego kind of gave him a run for his money there, but it's way back in July. I believe Diego oil checked him at one point. All right. But he did submit Carlos Condit. That's a big deal. Carlos, although on the decline, still very good. He's always right there. Before that, he loses to Anthony Pettis. Don't think too much into that because, he was on the bus in Brooklyn last April when, the dolly got thrown through it. He had some glass in his eye. He was set to take on Anthony Pettis that night. Here's the problem. He had to turn around, do another back-to-back weight cut, but he doesn't cut down to 155 very well. It's brutal for him. Doesn't make weight. You're 1.5 pounds away. He made 157.5 pounds. You're 1.5 pounds away. How bad off are you that you can't cut that 1.5 pounds? And it killed him. I don't know. I'm not disparaging here Anthony Pettis, but he did submit him, and Michael Chiesa never, ever returned to lightweight again. So now we are going back here. He did lose to Kevin Lee, said he wasn't really choked, but I think he would have sunk it in eventually. 3 big wins before that. Beneil Dariush, Jim Miller, Mitch Clark. I think he may have actually retired Mitch Clark. No, that's 2015, maybe not, but we'll see. I think I'm going to go Rafael dos Anjos. He's used to that weight just a little bit more than Michael Chiesa. He's more dynamic. He is good on the ground. He gets a little underrated there. He has good takedown defense. And he's more of a dynamic striker, and he could keep him away. He could keep Chiesa away from taking those, making those takedowns with, I like to call distance. Or rather, those punches, those kicks, keeping him at bay so that he doesn't take him down. So, yeah, I think I am going to go with Rafael dos Anjos. And we're going to get to the main event here. Sorry, there, a little cough. I feel like I have this perpetual January cough here, so my bad there. Medicinal purposes. All right. The main event of the evening, Curtis Blaydes, Rafael dos Anjos. Now, I don't know what a win does for either of these guys because both of them have been beaten soundly by Francis Ngannou. Curtis Blaydes twice. Okay, look at this camera. Boom. That's so awesome. The focus comes back. It's incredible. All right, enough about my camera. And like I said, if you're on Periscope or YouTube, feel free to join in and help me pick the fight here before I get to it. We're about to take a radio break here. I don't do this very well, but I'm trying here. But radio break. And we're back. All right. Let's go here. Oh, that was my radio break alarm there. Like I said, not great at this. All right, let's take a look here. Curtis Blaydes just beat Shamil Abarakamera. Okay, I can't say it. All right, Justin Willis. I thought he was going to beat Francis Ngannou in the rematch, and he doesn't. And Francis just knocks the lights out of him in Beijing, China, 45 seconds, round 1. Before that, look at him, man. TKOs Alistair Overeem, beats Mark Hunt in a decision. Alexei Olenek. Man, I mean, he's on a tear. He beats everyone that's not Francis Ngannou, basically. But the problem is a win doesn't really put him back up there in the top 2 because I think Ngannou's right there. Now, he is taking on Rosenstrike very soon. Jairzinho, that would be Ngannou is, and that's March. So I don't know. It could be one of those situations where one of these guys somehow gets an end around to the title. Let's say Ngannou loses, and then all of a sudden that one of them goes up against Jairzinho, and somehow they're back in the title conversation. I don't know. And then you got Junior, of course, just beaten by Dos Santos. You know, he's alternated some wins and losses here and there, but Blagoy Ivanov, Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis beats 3 in a row, 3 tough guys in a row. Derek Lewis, I think he gets him in the belly, but God love Derek. He's a senior nutritionist now. And then he loses, of course, to Stipe in their rematch for the title. I don't know, man. This is very, very interesting. Dos Santos is very good. He's been up and down. I think Blaydes is very good. He's been mostly up, but he loses to Francis Ngannou. This is a tough one, man. We've seen with Cain Velasquez, if you can get in on him and clinch and take him down, he's not good like that, and Cain beat him from pillar to post twice after, of course, getting starched by Junior the very first fight. So I tend to think Curtis Blaydes is going to come in with the same strategy, but you never know. Junior can catch a guy. Junior can catch a guy late, too. He can catch a guy early. So we'll see. However, I think I'm going to go with Curtis Blaydes. Definitely. All right. Next up, another card this weekend. We are spoiled. We are witnessing history here. Cris Cyborg fighting in Bellator for the very first time for a championship fight, the Featherweight Championship. She could be a 4-organization champion, okay? Strikeforce, Invicta, UFC, now Bellator. And that's pretty incredible, I must say. But before that, we got a few undercard fights to pick, which is very interesting. Henry Corrales, who I saw fight live in St. Louis years ago against Daniel Strauss. Funny story there. After the fight, Daniel Strauss comes and sits with Henry Corrales and then takes the little girl's cheese fries, and it was hysterical to watch. And it was all in good nature, and the little girl was fine. No worries. So Henry Corrales, OK Corrales. I love that nickname there, like the OK Corral, if you don't understand the reference. He did lose his last one to Darrion Caldwell. I thought very much he could have pulled that one off. Before that, a ton of wins in a row, man. Just really rebounded and come back after his loss to Patricio way back when in 2016. Cody Bollinger, Noad Lahat, Georgie Khashakyan, Andy Main, and of course the underrated, overrated, whatever you want to call him, Aaron Pico. All right, let's take a look at Juan Archuleta. Notable to say that Juan Archuleta trains with the great TJ Dillashaw. He did lose his last fight against Patricio. I thought he was probably going to win that. He did not. Of course, this fight taking place 145 pounds. I mean, the guy hadn't lost up until then. But it's kind of a hooty fight, you know what I mean? Eduardo Dantas, Ricky Banderas, Jeremy Spoon, Robbie Peralta. No relation to Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I don't think. So really tough to pick, He was mostly hyped up just because he trains with TJ Dillashaw. So it's very, very interesting, this fight. I do think, however, my computer is going nuts. I do think, however, Henry Corrales does win. and hopefully gets him back in there for a title shot at some point very soon. So yeah, Henry Corrales for the win. This one is interesting as well. Sergio Pettis. Okay, let's take a look at his record here. If I can get it to pull up. Sergio Pettis coming over from the USC to Bellator, which is very, very interesting for me because he did it coming off a win. Crazy, right? Coming off a win because, Bellator is apparently paying these guys. And I don't like to see that. I didn't like to see, especially, I think the one that was the worst, not so much Ryan Bader, but Masasi. Gegard Masasi, I thought, could have been a absolute contender, 185 pounds, in UFC at any time. Like, he came off on a win, too. 205 as well. That guy was crazy. But we're not talking about Masasi right now. We're talking about Sergio Pettis. Okay, his last fight was Tyson Nam. All right? Tyson Nam. And then that was at a flyweight. In a weak flyweight division, that's all of a sudden it's coming back. He beat him. All right? Before that, he has some losses here and there. Rob Font at Bantamweight, Juicy off Omega, of course. Another flyweight. He has a win, by the way. Did you understand this? A win at the challenger for the next flyweight title. Joseph Benavidez. He has a win. Nobody understands that. He did go toe-to-toe with Henry, but he lost. I mean, this was a loss. I think it was a big loss for the UFC. But he's young. He could come back, but he might be getting paid. He may not want to. All right, Alfred Khashakyan. Let's take a look at him real quick. All right, nothing but wins. Nothing but wins. Okay, his last loss was 2017 against Sean O'Malley. Maybe you heard of him. He might be pretty good. All right, he is pretty good. Hopefully Sean O'Malley comes back at some point too. He does have a loss against Juan Archuleta. I mean, this guy's been up and down and up and down. Chris Beal. He just beat Corrales, Keith Carson, AJ Bryant. So I'm assuming that this fight, I'm trying to think here. I guess it may be taking place at 135 pounds, which is really interesting. It is. 135 pounds. Huh. You know what? I just tend to think with Alfred's pedigree and 135 pounds that he may have this fight. Because Pettis does not do good at 135. He's a real small dude. So, yeah, I think Alfred may spoil Sergio Pettis' debut because it's not a flyweight. It's a bantamweight. All right, interesting. All right, co-main, I assume, Darrion Caldwell taking on Adam Borics. All right, let's take a look at Caldwell first. Like I said, he did just win. And by the way, if you are on the Periscope, before we wrap this up, feel free to chime in. All right. Yeah, so he did just beat Henry Corrales, like I said. Before that, he has 2 losses in a row to Haraguchi, one in Ryzen, one in back in Bellator. They ran it back in Bellator. Interesting. And I have a feeling this live stream may about be ready to blow because my computer is acting up. But I'm recording a backup, if you will. Okay. Before that, though, wins, okay? Noad Lahat, Leandro Higo, Eduardo Dantes, a rematch against Joe Tamanglio. All right, now let's take a look here at Adam Borics. Young guy, 5'11". Okay, he's a lightweight, so I think this may be taking place at 145 pounds, which is interesting. He was a lightweight. Lots of wins. Pat Curran, Aaron Pico, Josinaldo Silva, Teodor Nikolov, Anthony Taylor, Michael Billick. All right, lots and lots of wins here. I tend to think that, though, they're probably setting this one up for Darrion Caldwell. He did just beat a very, very tough Henry Corrales at 145 pounds. And I don't see where that's going to be any different. So going for Darrion Caldwell here for sure. All right, the main event of the evening. Cris Cyborg, Julia Budd. And I am lagging bad here. All right, let's take a looky. All right, Julia Budd, first of all, nothing but wins for the longest time, for a very long time. And, oh yeah, we got plenty of time here. Let's take a look at that. 145 pounds, wins over Olga Rubin, Kalida, Nogueira, Arlene, Bianca, Marlis Conan. Okay, and that's for the inaugural championship way back when. All right, when did she lose last? Ronda Rousey, 2011. That was 135 pounds. Insane. She's gone on a run. The only two people she's ever lost to are the tops in the 135-pound division. Once to Ronda, once to Amanda Nunes. Back in 2011. Hasn't lost since. Insane. Cris Cyborg, only one loss, okay? Amanda Nunes, who may be the best ever, and that fight could have went either way. They both hit like a truck. I am rooting for Cyborg in this. She follows multiple accounts of mine. She has, you don't know this about her. She's a good lady, and she has a great sense of humor. She knows my accounts aren't real, and she follows them. She laughs. She likes. She retweets. And, but that's not why I'm rooting for her, It's a little bit why. A little bit. But yeah, just beat Felicia Spencer in the UFC off on a win. It's just one of those other unfortunate things, but mainly because her production team did something funny with Dana White. Only loss, like I said, Amanda Nunes wins over Yana Kunitskaya, Holly Holm, Tanya Everger, Lina Länsberg. I can go on and on and on. The wins keep on coming, and I think they're going to come again. I think her debut, she's going to be super ready, super focused, and she's going to win her Bellator debut. And that's it. I picked the fights, and I hope to see you next time on the MMA Fight Picks podcast. Shalom.
Please remember to support the podcast by visiting the affiliate links on AaronSaysWhat.com.